And welcome back to another video, everybody. And today we're going to talk about pricing on the 2023 Dodge Chargers, and certainly any of the challenges are still laying around on lots. They are now about to pass well over, for sure, probably a year, some year and a half sitting on the market. And yes, that does mean there's deals coming, but here's why the deals are coming. We are at the end of the year. We're at the end of the quarter. We're at the end of the month, and every single dealership is going to be ranked and judged by the manufacturer, based on their performance in 2024. And anybody want to take a guess on how their performance is? Most dealerships had a rough year. Everyone would agree. That's why we saw that letter where they're showing their hands when they were screaming about Tavares. They have too many cars. They can't sell. Prices are too high. Not enough incentives. They've got an electric abomination shitbox that's going to be showing up to the dealerships that they have no idea whether they will get sold, despite my video yesterday showing you that there's at least one dealership that has their head so far up their ass that they absolutely believe they're going to be able to get $10,000 markups on those things. But many of them are clear that they need to sell the stuff they have. And if they've been hoarding inventory now for a year, year and a half, 2 years, even sitting on some 2022s, then it's time they get those to be moved. And here's the other reason why. Banks, many credit unions and some banks, lending institutions will consider in 23 days when we go into 2025 that a 2023 model year car, whether it's new or used, is no longer going to be able to be considered a brand new car. And remember, financing for new cars, especially with credit unions, is oftentimes better terms and better rates than used cars. The second a car is considered used, it's going to fall under another category. Rate's going to be higher, term's going to be shorter. I'm not advocating going long term, but always keep in mind that if you did a longer term at a lower interest rate versus a shorter term at a higher interest rate, you're still paying a lot of interest. So if it's about getting your payment right and you plan on keeping your car, and historically you keep your cars for 10, 15 years, then I don't have a problem how you structure your financial life, and I'm not judging you. Make the decision that's best for you, but don't overpay and don't buy a car that's going to be considered a used car at a higher interest rate. If you can buy one now, that's absolutely going to be considered, hopefully, still new and get a good rate. With that said, you got to ask the question, because some of the dealerships are going to be using banks. They're going to try to push on you that are seeing these things no longer, or not seeing these things any longer as new cars. And I can tell you the credit unions right now, I know Navy Federal considers anything a 2023 with less than 7,500 miles on it to still be considered a new car for financing purposes. So that's Navy Federal. But I know that that's been for all of 2024. So I expect and have to anticipate that in 2025, in 23 days, they're going to say, okay, now it's any 2024s with 7,500 or less miles that can be considered brand new for the new car, lower interest financing. So something to keep in mind. But yes, the dealers want to move these things. And yes, they got to make room for the shit boxes and all the electrical cords and battery chargers they're going to have on hand, and extension cords. I'm kidding, but dragging out to keep those Dodge Daytona Charger EV things charged for people to come and test drive them. And then if they take delivery, they're not going to want to take delivery on one of those things with 17 miles of range on it unless they can get to their house and charge it. I mean, how stupid is this? You get it, and then you have to figure out how to charge it before you can even drive it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when I was a kid at Christmas, and I asked one year for just a bunch of remote control cars. And when they showed up, every single one of them that had a rechargeable battery, I had to sit there and stare at it and wait for 2 hours, 3 hours before I could play with it. Boy, how do we make this full circle? That is the world we're living in now with real cars. Anyways, I digress. Let's go take a look at how you can get deals now, less than MSRP on Chargers. I'm just going to show you Chargers, but obviously Challengers that are brand new cars. And I'm only looking at Scat Pack and Hellcat wide bodies. And I want to show you the data that you can use to get these deals and how to ensure that you don't get screwed, because every one of these prices I'm going to show you are generally tied to some kind of restrictions or strings with these dealerships, meaning high admin fees. I'm okay with an admin or a doc fee that's $350, $400, even as high as $500. That's cool. I get it. You got a bunch of people doing a bunch of work to get this deal done at the end of the deal. I get it, and process all the paperwork afterwards for DMV and taxes and everything. I'm cool with that. But $979, $1,000, $1,500, I'm not falling for it. We're not going to pay add-ons, and they're going to require that you use their financing and that you trade a car in. They'll give you big allowances. You'll see for $3,500 or so, some of them even higher, for trade-in allowances. But keep in mind, you have to know what you can get for that car before you fall for it, because they're not going to make up the money on your trade that they're giving you in discount. And they're going to fall right back to the full MSRP price if you don't go along with their plan. So show up with a price for your trade that you've gotten from CarMax, KBB, go to Carvana. Just type into Google and put cash buyers for cars and put the VIN number in for all those sites. And I promise you, you'll find that they are all different. They're not all the same. They're going to hit you. Some hit you five. I mean, I had one where it was one of the sites, maybe Carvana or something, was like $6,000 less than another one. So when I bought my Swinger, that I overpaid for, but I still love the car, I found the highest offer I could on the open market from a wholesaler, and I sent them that and said, I'm happy to trade my car in, but you have to give me this price for it. And I'm happy to use your financing, but you have to give me this exact interest rate or better and the same terms. And these are the terms that I'm getting from my credit union. If you can do those two things, I will give you that price for the car, and I'll show you what that price is. And if not, they're going to have to walk away from those restrictions and sell the cars, and I'm going to show you right now why they probably will, especially this time of the year. Let's go. All right, so this is just a full search nationwide of Scat Pack wide bodies and the Hellcat wide bodies. Now, you can search whatever you want. I'm just going to use this for example purposes. Remember, the top three on Car Gurus are always going to be sponsored ads, so you don't know what the hell those are sometimes. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. This doesn't look bad, but the discount looks like $8,000. Anyways, let's just go to the regular cars. Let me show you first a dealership that's living in La La Land. And I love this green car. This is gorgeous. I mean, it's just such an awesome spec. But at $105,000, even with that being MSRP and this thing being pretty loaded, it's been on the market for 325 days with 11 people nationwide, 11 people who have saved this, wanting to know when something changes. So what I would say to the dealerships is, first thing I would do is ask them, hey, how long has that thing been on your lot? And let them lie to you. Let them tell you, just a few months. We got it from another dealership. Or, they're not going to tell you it's been on the market for almost a year. Then you tell them later on, oh, look what I found. It looks like you guys have had it there for 325 days. You must not have noticed this bright green thing sitting out there growing roots into the ground, rusting the brakes and letting all kinds of lot rot take place. You must have, you must not have seen this thing sitting out there for that long, but it's been there for 325 days. And here's the price that I'm happy to give you. I'm happy to go down here. See, I have a weird thing about me, which is I like to get great prices for things. It doesn't always happen in my life, but I think most of you would agree that I'm good with great. So here's the deal. Even their high price is way lower than the price the dealer is actually asking at MSRP, because the prices are falling. And according to Car Gurus, they're falling fast. So that's what I'm willing to pay. And I'm willing to pay that if you don't hit me with a whole bunch of other junk. I don't want any add-ons, don't want any other stuff. And by the way, I want put in my due bill, when we wrap this deal up in finance, that after I fully inspect that car, maybe even have a pre-purchase inspection done to make sure there's no bird's nests in there, chewed up rubber, chewed up wiring harnesses issues, I would like for you to put in writing in a due bill that any lot rot related issues will be covered by the dealership. Since those will not be warranty items, those are damage from sitting on the lot for so long, pitted, completely rusted out, brake rotors, which everybody says, oh, those are fine. You drive them and they're fine. Not 325 days of water and not moving. This thing's moved, 12 miles or 39 miles in the last year, this is way more than rust, folks. I mean, this is caked on, eating through that metal. Probably needs new rotors. I also would like to know that when the last time all the fluids were changed and flushed, and put that in writing as well. Or put that as part of my first service that we're going to do. Upon delivery, you're going to put it in the shop and you're going to change all the fluids out for me as part of the deal, because it's been just sitting here rotting for well over a year, or approaching a year on this one. Others have been out there a lot longer, so this is approaching a year. So you're going to offer them that low amount. Now, as we progress down here, I can go back, just start clicking and go to the actual prices of Hellcats. Once we get past all the dealers that are still sitting in fantasy land, so let's go back up here. Here's a Hellcat 92. Now there's cheaper ones out there. Let's go back another notch here. Here's a nice one for $79,000. 79,801. We come up here, look how many days. It's been up for 374 days, over a year. MSRP is $90,000. I would give them $74,000 for the car. And if they want a $300 or $400 admin fee, that's fine. No add-ons, nothing else. They're going to want you to trade in your car and use their financing most likely. Again, follow the rule. You just know what those numbers are and say you can if you can match. But I'm not going to pay you a higher interest rate so you can make extra money, nor am I going to sell you my trade-in for $5,000 less than CarMax might give it to me for. So, you decide, do you want to do the deal or not, or do you want to sit on the car for another 374 days and miss out on this opportunity at the end of the year to clean your lot out and get more allocations of the new piece of crap that's showing up. But if the gas engine cars show up this year, none of these dealers want to be in a position to not be getting lots of allocations on those things. So now let's go and look at the lowest price first. Look at some Scat packs. I think it's, here's a swinger for $55,000. Now, I want to show you something here you've got to be aware of. So $55,257, MSRP $66,185. This is a great price. I mean, no matter how you cut it, some of you are going to say, "Oh, I wouldn't pay 40 grand for that." That's fine. A lot of us would be okay with 55 grand. 11 miles on this thing, so it's been sitting for a while. But how long? It's been sitting for 489 days on CarGurus. At this dealership, they had it 382 days. Raised the price $2,000. I can't explain that one at all. But here they are. I would pay right around that 55 grand for this car. That's the most I'd pay. But let's find out if there's some games being played here. So unfortunately, on CarGurus, I haven't figured out how to find out what the actual dealer issues are. I mean, of course, they have descriptions in here. Sometimes they'll have some details. They have disclaimers that will sometimes tell you that, hey, look, you can't bank on this price 100%. Got to go to the dealer's website, which is right here. So let's go to their website and look at this car and find out if there's any games they're playing with the price. Here it is, Scat Pack. Swinger, wide body, $55,257, great deal, $10,000 discount. But here's how that fleshes out. $979 dealer admin fee. I would tell them, I'm happy to pay that, but you're going to drop the price by $500. I don't mind them making something on that, but you're not going to get all that. So that's too high. That's just, I think everybody would agree it's too high. But here's where I'm concerned. This says it's not including equipment, additional equipment, products, packages, and accessories. So I want them to confirm to me, whether I'm on the phone with them or in person, that there is nothing they're going to stick on me through this process. There is no $350 nitrogen air or other BS or $400 locking lug nuts. I will pay the price you're asking. I will follow your rules here. Now let's go and find out if there's any other rules that they like to hide. All right, so I don't see any details that you have to go through their bank, which is great, but I think you will find out that that's when you get there. Just be prepared for that fight. So let's go ahead and go back. Here's a swinger in the F8 green. And this thing, $57,885 versus the $65,885 sticker. And we will come down, see how many days this thing's been on the market. Been on the market 467 days, 2 saves and no price changes, I think you should be offering them around 53 to 55 grand for this car at the very most. And you're not going to play their games with their financing unless they match your bank and match the trade-in price. But let's go to their website and see if we can find any details. All right, so here's the catch. Finance this, gives you the breakdown, and it shows the VIN and the MSRP, selling price. This is what they want down, $65.88, 72 months, 6.51% APR on approved credit. So remember, they're very good at telling you don't qualify for some random reason or try to push you to a higher rate by telling you that stuff. Total payments, but here's the catch. Must finance through Ally Loan. I would tell them I have no problem if you can match my credit union's rate. Otherwise, there's no reason for us to go forward. And show them your approval from your credit union or bank and say if you can beat that rate and match the terms, or even match that rate and match the terms and match the offers I've got on my trade, I'm happy to do the deal. This one doesn't say you have to have a trade. I did see some others where they did show that there had to be trade-in money or trade-in to be able to get the discount. But you're going to see this and just stand firm. Be willing to walk away if you can't get them to come off of that, because you're not going to take a higher interest rate and then have to pay more on that car than you should have to. But people have said, well, what if I finance a car and just pay it off a couple months later? Just make sure there's nothing in writing that prevents you from being able to do that. So bottom line is, when you go back to Car Gurus, use the days on the market, ask them how many days it's been for sale. When they lie to you, come back a few minutes later and say, oh, I'm sure you just missed that green thing on your lot for the last year and a half. Looks like only 2 people are interested in it, and here I am ready, willing, and able to do the deal, and you guys are holding out on me on a percent on the interest rate or something. No, I'm happy to go through you if you can match everything, but I'm willing to give you 54, maybe start at 50 and grind them for a while and take them to that 53, 54. But no matter what, my point of this video is you are not any longer paying MSRP. You will get deals compared to what you would have gotten even a few months ago. So like a guy told me this weekend, he came up to me and he said, hey, look, I got a Scat pack and your videos helped me. And I was able to get it for MSRP with no add-ons, no junk fees or anything. And I feel really good about that. And I said, you should, because, not paying markups is kind of one of the biggest things on my channel. But what I didn't have the heart to tell him, because I'm not going to be that guy that says, you could have got a better deal, is you could have got a better deal. And I don't want any of you out there to go out there and think that right now you can't get a great deal. We're at the end of the year, end of the month, end of the quarter, and these dealers need to move these cars. They need to get them off their lots. They need to get some better sales numbers because these years have sucked. And if everybody's has sucked, that means theirs can suck less than everyone else's and maybe get more allocations. Plus, any vendors they work with, any wholesalers they work with, if they haven't been selling cars, getting used cars to their wholesalers, going to the auctions, all these things that are tied towards volume business that they have not been able to deliver the volume, they're at risk of getting charged more for going into the next year. So getting a lot of cars pushed out this last 23 days of the year is going to be very important to these dealerships. So go out there, fight hard for your deal, stay firm, stay strong. Email me at ocmotivator@gmail.com, and I'll help you in any way that I can in negotiating and keep you from making a decision that you might regret later on. And if you want to get a deal right now on a Hellcat, Charger, or Challenger, or a Scat Pack wide body, you should be able to get that. You just might have to fight a little bit. And if you get something out of state and you live in California, remember, make sure it's a 50-state vehicle. You're going to have some emissions issues. Not my rules. Just is what it is. It sucks. And with that, everybody, please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.